Today I'm talking about why I think hypnotherapy students and hypnotherapists, just love this field. There's a heat wave here as I'm recording this, and despite the heat, I wanted to lighten things up a bit here, following my recent video clips, and talk about things of a different nature. And this video, it's kind of started out being a bit of a stream of consciousness that I hope will reveal some insight about why I think people fall in love with the hypnotherapy field so readily. And there's more of a reason to this that I'll kind of come on to. This coming weekend is the final module of my current monthly diploma course, and it signals the end of our academic year here at my college. And gradually, as this month and the next month start to draw to a close, so my focus then starts to sharpen on the fact that the new academic year will be upon us in coming months. And the second half of this year's intensive hypnotherapy diploma course is in a few weeks, and it's a few weeks after that that our next monthly hypnotherapy diploma course starts. And then when we also sort of finalise my schedule for our upcoming advanced training, CPD events for hypnotherapists. And I've got a whole load of overseas events coming up and new courses going on here at home. And it's an exciting time for me. It's filled with anticipation. I look forward to establishing relationships with new students, meeting other hypnotherapists at events, lecturing on some of my favourite subjects, sharing updated course materials. Every year I add the new breakthrough strategies based upon that year's studies and research. And importantly, sharing my love of the field that I work in with people that are keen to understand it and discover it too, that is keen to move it forward. And one of the things that I've found throughout the years is that people really do fall in love with this field. And I've attempted to sort of decipher the reasons why, as more and more students and course delegates have sort of passed through the metaphorical halls of this training college. And in my opinion, the reasons that people fall in love with the field of hypnosis and hypnotherapy tend to be numerous. Firstly, hypnotherapy, it's a fringe subject. Hypnotherapy, it's fringe psychology at best. And currently, in some places, it appears to be almost cult-like. And when on the fringe of the mainstream, we sometimes have to defend our subject matter. And we sometimes have to circle the wagons to take a stand to support it. And we sometimes have to defend it against dissenting perspectives. Hypnotherapists and students of hypnosis tend to plant a flag in the ground and become a small guerrilla force in the vast expanse of the therapeutic world and conventional psychology, and it becomes a cause that we fight for. It becomes part of our identity. It becomes something that we stand for, something that we readily promote. But also, the people in this field, that this field seems to attract, of course, they've got a will to do good in the world. I recently wrote about having a sense of purpose on my personal blog, and I alluded to how my own work helps to fulfill a sense of purpose, my own sense of purpose anyhow. And what a wonderful way to earn a living, by helping other people to be well, happy, healthy, and to overcome adversity and to fulfill their dreams. I think it's easy to love a field that permits you to do that. And I'm going to expand upon this later on because I think it's really important. The field of hypnosis gets people intrigued, gets them curious, gets them wanting more. Discussion of hypnosis turns dinner party guests into an attentive audience. They want to know more. They often want you to do it there and then. It's an engaging subject matter. And one of the perverse benefits of there being so much myth and misconception about this field is that people consider it to be powerful and want to understand it. It's an interesting, eye-opening, exciting, challenging subject to share with others, It's easy to fall in love with that. Now, hypnosis and hypnotherapy are, they are largely misunderstood. So therapists are keen to educate others about it. And this builds upon, my earlier point, films, newspapers, books, all sorts of other places that portray hypnosis tend to give inaccurate accounts. I even have a section, in my podcast, on my blog, that highlights many of the ways that the media portray hypnosis. And I've written about this greatly in the past. In particular, with my own college, the Anglo-European College of Therapeutic Hypnosis, we place much value on adherence to evidence base, and even less people are aware of the evidence base that the field of hypnotherapy has to support it. In fact, the vast majority of hypnotherapists actually seem unaware of much of the evidence too. It would really advance their careers and their understanding if they were to familiarize themselves a bit more. One of the major hypnotherapy organisations in the UK recently sent out its weekly email to its members, shouting and singing about one of its members being one of very few people with a master's degree in the UK. And I think this is wonderful. They seemed, however, to completely overlook the vast swathes of academics, authors, scientists, psychologists who hold a PhD, that have also researched the field of hypnosis and made major contributions to the field on an ongoing basis. And, I loved telling you that. We fall in love with this field when we get to celebrate it and we get to educate others about how impressive it really is, beyond the cheap and misleading media representations. Now, what we do here, it is ultimately a brief therapy that can create impressive lasting change. And hypnotherapy is considered a brief therapy. That is, long-lasting change can happen quickly. Not as quickly, perhaps, as some people might suggest, but often much, much quicker than a number of other more conventional psychotherapeutic interventions or approaches. Of course, there are occasions when issues require time and consideration to deal with, but in general it's a brief therapy that's considered by many to be dynamic. And when you see change happening rapidly with patients, with clients, how can you not fall in love with the field? It's so rewarding to see that sort of change happening in people that you are helping and that you're working with. Even more than that, too, hypnotherapists, usually also teach individuals self-hypnosis skills. So self-hypnosis becomes a life skill that can be applied and used, in many differing areas of life. And it equips our clients, our patients, with lifelong skills. I love that. What a way to help impressively impact somebody's life. And we get to become scientists and artists. There's this ongoing debate that happens in some corners of this field. Some believe hypnosis is an art form that relies upon the skills of the professionals. Others believe that hypnosis is a science that can be standardized and applied accordingly without the need for being an artist. The reality is that we get to be both. We get to create, we get to express ourselves. Any form of work can be art when you attempt to be the very best that you can be at it, when you apply yourself and take responsibility for a project, such as a therapy client, for example. But likewise, we get to benefit from the science that supports this field. We get to apply what science has shown us and thus can make reliable predictions and decisions. And heck, when they stop bickering about it, the hypnotherapists who see this point, they fall in love with the field even more. And as an aside, I would say, the debates that go on in forums about this field can be framed in terms of being further evidence of how passionate people are about the hypnotherapy field. And we get kudos. We get to do cool stuff. I don't know if you've seen, my more popular videos on this YouTube channel. People are much more keen on me doing hypnosis rather than sitting here talking about all this geek stuff. But as well as the therapeutic applications of hypnosis, I regularly have people's hands stuck to tables, have their arms unable to bend, have pins put through people's arms without any pain or bleeding, have full body catalepsy, have them forget their own name, and much more besides. And I think that stuff is cool. I love that stuff. I consider that to be cool stuff, even if by saying that it's cool makes it uncool. And these are the initial reasons that I think people fall in love with the field of hypnotherapy. But there's so much more. You know, every time I go online, I see more incredible and impressive things that other hypnotherapists are doing out there in the world. And it has me loving the field even more. In recent years, you know, I've watched on in awe as graduates of my college, for example, have flourished at business awards, have become published authors, have presented to large audiences, have used their skills to build a career in completely different fields, have featured in mainstream media with their success stories, have developed businesses of varying kinds, have pioneered treatments dealing with a wide variety of complex issues and disorders faced by the public. And there are so many impressive applications of hypnotherapy that our graduates have used. It's mind-boggling. Setting up pain clinics in hospitals, lessening the symptoms of debilitating tinnitus, dealing with super morbidly obese people that you usually only see on television documentaries, working with professional sports teams and individuals. These are all things that I can tell you about today being done by my graduates that I'm familiar with. And I know that graduates of other schools and other hypnotherapists are doing equally impressive stuff. More importantly, I think, hypnotherapists continue to connect with a wide variety of other human beings. They've helped them therapeutically and on many other levels. While I'm sat here recording this, the connectivity that we have with the world is like at no other time in history. We have access to billions of other people, yet so few people actually properly connect with one another. They do not truly make a difference in a way that matters to those that they connect with. Hypnotherapists get to connect like no other profession I know of. Hypnosis is intimate. It involves sharing and engaging with one another. It requires skills of trust building and professionalism, ethics, as well as being able to create and be credible and safe and effective and caring. The field of hypnotherapy requires its therapists to have such a fine mix of knowledge and skill, as well as being able to connect with people that seek our help, inspire them to change and help support them through a major element of their life. You know, we get to be that. We get to do that. And I think this is why so many people do fall in love with this field when they explore it and study it and develop within it. The field of hypnotherapy, it's effervescent. Right now, it's effervescent. It's buzzing. It's fizzing because it's becoming so much more accepted. It has a better and a more public profile. It features in the media more regularly. It has more evidence to support it. The collective force of those in the field is driving it in a forward direction. And this is one of the reasons many people, come and train with me, for example. It's apparent that I love this field and that I want it to develop, not just for my own gain and my own benefit, but for the good of the field itself and the way it can impact so greatly, the good of the world at large. Or for the good of the world, I should say. I'm getting a bit carried away today with my words. I'm missing some. The people that join my classes, my courses, are often keen to engage with me because that they see this and they make a point of telling me this. And I often make very good friendships with many of those who attend my courses. And some of my closest friends today are people who have been students on my courses. I was best man, my good friend Steve Baxter's wedding, who I first met through my work. He's an incredibly skilled hypnotherapist, and maybe that's another reason that I love this field, because of the people that I've met and developed friendships with. The reason that I invest myself so much in the training that I offer, why I record these videos, why I engage with my podcast and share so much via social media and dedicate myself to being a hypnotherapist. I do these things because I love this field. I believe that all these things that I discussed here today help people fall in love with hypnotherapy. And I recognize the way others fall in love with hypnotherapy so readily because they're all my own loves too. My own mission has in part been to reach as many people as possible and help them attain their dreams, derive more joy from life, overcome issues and problems, to be the fullest possible expression of themselves that makes life such a beautiful, magnificent experience. Helping another person to be that way using hypnotherapy, to me, that is being alive. You know, that's some way to live. When I teach, for example, I teach knowing that more and more people will be directly influenced by those that graduate from this college. And that fills me with joy as well. So for me, it's not just an intelligent choice of work where I create a living that enables me to live a life that I love. You know, where I get to spend time with my family, run marathons, research, write, explore the human condition, and meet amazing people. You know, that's part of it. But it's not just a job. It's a love. It's not just a career. It's a powerful choice and a creation. It's not just a regular payday. It's getting to make a difference. And I think that's why so many people that I encounter in this field love it so much. So there we have it today. I'm just sharing the love. I'm going to follow up on this. Do subscribe to the channel. Do go visit the website. I'll speak to you next time.